It's the activated one, new bright 10, the Futurtarian. And this video is going to be on the superheroes that they talk about. And really what it is, this is really what the superhero thing is, right? And, you know, I got a lot of teachers that's been waiting for me to drop videos. I haven't dropped a video in a minute, but yeah, we are back through the cyberverse. This video is going to be on the DNA and also on the mind, the mental aspect of it. See, the DNA. See, this is the thing about the superheroes that they was talking about. The superheroes that they're talking about, when you're dealing with Dragon Ball Z, all these anime cartoons, see, I'm going to go through a couple of superheroes and give you guys an example of what I'm talking about as far as you just getting a mega standing of what's going on as far as the superhero thing goes. Now, when you're dealing with your five senses, right? You got your five senses and then you have your sixth sense. Because everything in this three-dimensional realm, deals with 3, 6, and 9. I'm going to repeat myself. Everything in this three-dimensional realm deals with 3, 6, and 9. So when you're dealing with these superpowers, the superpowers has always been inside your DNA code, your DNA strand, hooked up to your mental, your neurotransmitters in your mental. That's where you get the electricity, the neurotransmitters. Dealing with that, I'm going to give you an example. See, when you're dealing with, I'm going to use these superheroes as an example to give you guys an example of what the true powers are. Because the powers are already been in you. So I'm going to use Cyclops, for example. What Cyclops powers? Cyclops powers is his retinas being a laser, a high-powered laser. So what is that interpreting? That's interpreting your eyesight. That's your eyesight being upgraded, your eyesight being more advanced than the people that you're around. So for an example, if you're looking at something, are you looking at a beam? Are you looking at something and you're analyzing it? What you're trying to do is you're trying to have laser vision. What is laser vision? Laser vision is being focused on something, being focused on a path, on what you're trying to do to help this planet move forward and also help your generation move forward. That's what the eyesight is. It's focus. It's a laser focus. So that's what an example of the superhero powers is, having a laser focus. If you want to be a painter and you're painting, then you have to have a laser focus and you have to focus still on that painting, and you use your mind to go ahead and put whatever's in your mind on that canvas. That's, using Cyclops as an example. And then I'm gonna use Ant-Man. When you're dealing with Ant-Man, what was Ant-Man's powers? Ant-Man's powers was he could go into the quantum realm. Remember when Ant-Man went to the quantum realm? See, they show you all this, they just show everything in these movies because the superpowers, they're here. But it's just the upgrading of your DNA strand, your DNA code, right? Your junk DNA. That's what your superpower is. You focusing and upgrading your six senses. That's the superheroes. That's the superpowers. So I'm gonna give you an example with Ant-Man. What was Ant-Man? He could manipulate the structure of the atoms in his body to either get bigger or either get smaller. So Ant-Man, what did he do on one of his scenes in a movie? What did he do? He had to go inside of a body. Now, when you're dealing with nanotechnology and all that stuff, fighting whatever inside your body, if you allow it to get in there, that's a superpower. Avoiding or using your mind to destroy, when you're dealing with, especially when you get sick. What happens when you get sick? Your body reacts to it, and your body, when it reacts, it shoots out the cells to go destroy it. Giving you an example of Ant-Man, right? Because the whole point I'm making is the superhero, the superpowers has always been there. It's just a mental focus on whatever you're focusing on, and you enhance it. And what happens is your DNA starts to advance quicker, and it starts to alter and shift so you can make better decisions in your life to move forward into the future. What's another superhero? What was it? I'm trying to think of another one. The Juggernaut. Dealing with the Juggernaut, right? What was the Juggernaut? The Juggernaut, he was able to destroy walls and go through walls, right? And get to his target, whatever his target was. That's a superhero power. Now, I'm using the Juggernaut as an example because that's just saying that, right? When you have a wall in front of you and you have an obstacle in front of you, what do you have to do? You have to figure out how to get on the other side of that wall. That's a superpower. You figure out how to get on the other side of the wall. So say like you're running your own business and you got your business up and running. Your business it's going good. And then next thing you know, you got somebody across the street, open up the same business that you got. Now you're like, damn, why they, open up that shit across the street for me for? You know what I'm saying? So that's a wall. So you have to figure out how to get past that wall to keep your business moving forward. That's a superpower. That's a superpower. Figuring out how to go through the wall. Because sometimes when you're dealing with a wall and dealing with the Juggernaut superpowers as he was going through walls to get to his target, you got a couple of options when you're dealing with a wall. You can either go over the wall, you can go around the wall, you can go under the wall, or you can go through the wall. But the one thing about a wall, why would you do all that? You know what you do? You just remove the wall. That's all. You just remove the wall. Take the wall out the equation. Take the wall out the equation. That's the superpowers of the Juggernaut. That's why they were showing you the Juggernaut. They were showing you in these movies that he was going through walls. That was symbolic to you. Whenever you have an obstacle in your life, you either have to make a decision. Should I go through the wall, around it, over it, under it? Or the best thing is to do is remove the wall. Dealing with another superhero. Let me get another one. Because I don't use notes. I don't do notes. I don't do no pen, no pad, no paper, none of that. Another superhero. Dealing with the Hawk. What was the Hawk? The Hawk had radiation in him. See, when you're dealing with this 5G and you dealing with the artificial radiation, and then you got the organic radiation, which comes from the sun and also comes from the Earth's core, because the Earth's core also deals with radiation and work in a dual energy process, right? So when you're dealing with the Hawk got that radiation. He got that radiation. What happened? He mutated into the Hawk. I mean, David Banner. David Banner got the radiation, and what he do? He mutated in the Hawk. What it made? It made him. It made his genetic code and his body stronger, because when he was fighting those tanks and all those scenes like that, and he was getting strong because he had that radiation from him. That's a superpower. That's just saying, go. You got to get power from that sun. You got to get power from that corona. Get power from that corona. When people do sun gazing and stuff like that, and they go out there and they get that sun, that's one reason why they got the quarantine going on right now, is to keep you out the sun so you can get that radiation. That's a form of power. That's the superhero. It ain't no literally, it's not a literal sense where you're going to actually, be flying, breaking down walls and all this stuff is metaphors. It's metaphors, metaphor to the mental for. That's what this is. Let me get you another superhero. The top of the dome. Let me get you another one. Dealing with Superman. Superman. Okay. With Superman, right? Remember when Superman went to Antarctica, or if it was Antarctica, whatever it was cold, and he went up in, and Superman went up into that chamber, right? What did they have in that chamber? They had crystals in there. Why would they have crystals in there? Because crystals, the thing about crystals, crystals deal with the mind. Crystals deal with the mind. It upgrades the mind. That's what crystals do. The crystals that when Superman went there, remember when Superman went there, he had He had hair all on his face, and then he had went up into that, and he went up in there, and then he got upgraded. He got upgraded. He got upgraded into what? Into a higher being. He got upgraded to a higher being. Well, and that's why they had the crystals up in there, because it was dealing with the mind. Crystals deal with the mind, and a lot of the gems and crystals deal with the mind. The diamonds, they deal with the physical aspect, dealing with the physical power. So that's why they had the crystals up in there. And you go back, you can go on YouTube too and pull up the scene. Go on YouTube and pull up the scene when Superman goes to Antarctica or wherever he was at. I don't even think it might have been there. It might have been the North Pole also. But go look back at the scene. What do you see? Nothing but crystals. See, that's the superpowers. See, they put all this stuff in the face because they know it was metaphors. It wasn't literal. And now we back putting it on the forefront. Let me get another superhero. Top of the head. The Phoenix. When you're dealing with the Phoenix, what was her powers? Her powers was manipulating matter, and also the supernova. The Phoenix, she did that supernova. She had that fire. That's that fire, man. That supernova, that fire that's in your chest. That fire, that soul. Getting that stuff to a point where you see, when you have your external body, right? You got your external body, and you also, just like the planet, you also have an atmosphere around your body, which is your aura shield. And once you build up your DNA and your mental structure, your aura shield gets stronger. So that's what they were saying with the Phoenix, that fire. And then what would she do? She was levitating. She was levitating matter, making matter levitate, because everything in this three-dimensional realm, I don't care if it's wood. I don't care if it's wood or plastic. Everything has an electrical charge to it, because in order for these planets to get formed, they had to get the electrodes and the electrons to form everything. So what's that saying with the plasma? That's saying that everything has an electrical charge to it. That's magnetism. That's why when you're dealing with the gravity, because gravity is a theory. Right? Gravity is a theory, because gravity is not seen. You can't take gravity and put it under a microscope. So it's a theory. It's not gravity. It's magnetism, because everything has an electrical charge in it. Because the planets couldn't form when the gases and the metals and the liquids and the elements and all that stuff was sitting. And at the beginning of the solar system, it couldn't form without the electrodes and the electrons. It couldn't form. So what does that mean? That means everything has an electrical charge in it. It's not gravity, it's magnetism. Let me get another superhero. Top of the head, another superhero. Let's deal with Thanos. When you're dealing with that, what was Thanos's powers? Thanos's powers was mostly dealing with his mind. Thanos's mind was the strongest thing. Was the strongest thing rocking, because why? Even before just think about it. Even before he had the first stone, he already had an army. He was already taking over these universes. He was already taking over these galaxies. Before he even had a stone, one of the stones, right? When he was looking for the stones. So what was his power? His power was his mind. He knew how to control and manipulate people to follow him for his task at hand. What was his task? His task was to balance the universe, right? And then when he had got I forgot what stone it was, but he ended up getting another stone. The first stone he had got, it just enhanced everything. That's the superhero powers. Everything being enhanced, upgraded, the junk DNA being activated, dealing with Thanos. And then like I broke down in my last video, if you go and look at my Avengers video, when I broke that and decoded that whole movie, right? When Thanos, the hardest stone that Thanos had to get was the Mind Stone. Because remember, Thanos went for the Mind Stone first. He went for the Mind Stone, but it was that one chick that was guarding the Mind Stone. She was in a relationship with that one Avenger who had the Mind Stone in his head, right? He knew she was too strong. See, Thanos is a thinker. That's dealing with the mind. Thanos knew he was a thinker. This is all the superhero powers. Thanos knew that she was too strong. So what Thanos do? Thanos stopped going for the Mind Stone. And he was like, I need the Time Stone. I need the Time Stone to get the Mind Stone so I can go back in time just in case this chick beats me. Because Thanos is a thinker. That's why Thanos already knew that. He knew she was too strong. She was guarding the Mind Stone. He was in the other Avenger who had it in his head. She was in a relationship with him. So Thanos was guarding. Old girl was guarding the Mind Stone for him. That's why Thanos went for the Time Stone after that. When it was in that scene where he had Spider-Man and Iron Man. They were contemplating that was on Thanos' old planet, and they were contemplating on how to stop Thanos because the wizard went back in time. The wizard went back in time and seen that out of so many battles, they only won one battle against Thanos. So the wizard already knew that Thanos was coming for the Time Stone because the chick with the fire in her hand, she was too strong. That's why Thanos went for the Time Stone first and not the Mind Stone. Let me get another superhero. Top of the head. Let me think. What's another one? Another superhero. Oh, Thor. Dealing with Thor. What was Thor? Thor was dealing with the electricity. He was the electrified one, and he was one of the strongest ones because they showing you in the movie that when you're dealing with the electricity, what is the electricity? The electricity is all your body being connected. How do you move your body? Through electricity. How do you think? Through electricity. What was this universe founded on? The electrodes and the electrons, the plasma and all that. That's why Thanos they had him with the electricity, the thunder. The thunder dealing with the electricity because that was all. It's all symbolic. It's all because everybody has these powers in them. You just have to activate them. The superhero powers is in you. It's already in you. And, because all this is metaphors. It's not literal. It's not a literal aspect. This is a mental 4, dealing with the 4th dimension, mental 4 in this 3-dimensional realm. That's what this is. Dealing with Thor. And then Thor had the hammer. What was the hammer? What did the hammer consist of? The hammer consists of he had a whole universe in that hammer. So that's why that hammer was so powerful, because it was a whole universe in there. A whole universe. In the hammer. That's why the hammer, and you wasn't worthy. See, that's the thing. That's what they were talking about. You wasn't worthy to pick up the hammer. What they were saying was, when you're dealing with this 3-dimensional realm, if you don't get it right, if you don't get it right in these lifetimes, then you're not going to be worthy to go through the universe, to go through these upper dimensions. That's what his hammer represented. That's why when motherfuckers used to try to pick his hammer up, they couldn't pick it up because they weren't worthy. They were still stuck in this 3-dimensional realm mentally. That's what that was about. Dealing with Thor. Then you had the Bifrost. The Bifrost, what was the Bifrost? The Bifrost. The Bifrost was a portal. I broke down in my last video, man, about the portal, the plasma, man. The 4th dimensional beings, they don't use spaceships. The spaceships you see, that's all 3-dimensional beings. The 4th dimensional beings, they go through portals. They show you all this in the movie. That's what the Bifrost was. It was a portal. It was a portal for the upper dimensional beings to go through, to walk through. That's why when you have these dead zones, you're dealing with these dead zones on this planet, and you wonder why all your electrical, all the stuff that you have around you that's electrical, your watch, your phone, it starts going haywire because you're not worthy to be in that section of the planet. You ain't worthy to be up in there because they don't want, man, the upper dimensional beings don't want nobody in those damn sections, man. That's why when you're dealing with the Bermuda Triangle and all those planes and stuff just come up missing because you ain't even supposed to be over there. You ain't even worthy of going through. Man, you go through that portal, your DNA and all that stuff shreds to nothing. Your soul might even get shredded messing around with a portal because they damn sure don't want, man, look at the world, the way the world is. You think they want some random little Smojo smut going through a damn portal? That's what that was representing in Thor, man, when they had the Bifrost. That was the portal. Porting what? Portail. Porting what? What are you porting? You're porting the intel. That's why when they come through those portals, they're already intelligent beings, man. They're coming through. They're bringing intel. They ain't bringing no information, man. They're bringing straight intel. That's why it's called a portal. tail because they're porting intel. See if I can get another superhero top of the dome. I ain't did a video in a minute, man. I just been sitting here, you know what I'm saying? You know, I got a couple of teachers hitting me up. They hit me up. They want me to do videos. I understand. But, you know, sometimes, you know, you got to take a break. But now I'm back in full force, man. The Futurtarians, man. The electrified ones. We back. And then dealing with, let me get another superhero. Top of the head. Let me see. I'm trying to think of an Avenger. Oh, Nightcrawler. When you're dealing with Nightcrawler, what was he? He could disappear. Nightcrawler used to disappear and pop up. That was going. See, when Nightcrawler would do that, he would disappear and pop up. He was actually going into a different dimension because the only way you can transport yourself, you got to pop into a dimension and use that dimension to alter and shift the matter in the third dimension to pop up somewhere else. So when Nightcrawler was disappearing, he was going to the other dimension and then he was coming back, because in order for you to do that, you got to manipulate this dimension. And the only way you can manipulate this dimension, dealing with the matter and dealing with the electrons, the electrodes, the plasma, you have to go to another dimension to do that. But he was doing it because he was going to the quantum realm. That's the same thing with Ant-Man. When he was going to the quantum realm and he was popping back that quick, disappearing. That was the thing with that was a power. See, what I'm using all this as an example because it's metaphors. They're showing you that you can go, because last night I took a nap and I was twitching in my nap. I was twitching and I was shaking and stuff because I was going into other dimensions and popping back here. I was astral projecting. But I was astral projecting to another dimension. And that's the same way with Nightcrawler. So that's what I'm using this as metaphors, because this is your superpowers. This is what it is, man, because you can pop into the other dimensions and pop back here to manipulate this dimension. That's what Nightcrawler's powers was, because all these powers that they're talking about, they're already here. It's just that you're not going to do it on a literal aspect. You're going to do it on everything's mental. Keep telling y'all, man, everything is mental. It's a mental aspect. That's what your powers is. Your powers is activating that junk DNA, because when the gods had made man and mankind and all these other races that's on the planet, when they had made them, they left that strain out for a reason, because they already know people wasn't going to be worthy of being activated and going through ascension and going through that portal. They knew that. So that's what we're dealing with Nightcrawler. When Nightcrawler used to pop up and disappear, he was using the quantum realm. He was popping up, and then because the quantum realm moves faster. So that's why he was popping so fast, because when he went there, he actually what was happening was when he left, right, he had to manipulate. When he left, he was in the quantum realm. So what they're showing you is he had to literally manipulate, move people and shit in the third dimension, and then pop back there after he moved everybody, and boom. But everything in the third dimension was moving slower than the quantum realm. So it seemed like he was doing it quick. He could have, when he was disappearing, he was probably in the quantum realm for like 30 minutes an hour trying to manipulate the third dimension and then pop back. But it just seems like it was a split second because it was a different dimension. See if I get another superhero here. Let me see. I don't got no notes, man. I don't use notes. See if I can't think of a superhero right now. But yeah, so that anyway, man, that's just the whole aspect. What I'm saying is that's the superhero powers, man. You already have them, like dealing with Cyclops, the having a laser vision, being focused. That's all they're saying, man. Once you have your eyes set on something and you put that laser focus on it where you're going straight, you're not going in a hamster wheel. You're looking at it on a laser aspect, and you keep moving forward no matter what. You're not even looking on the side. You're not even looking on the left. You're not looking on the right. You're looking straight forward and you're staying focused. That's what Cyclops was representing. See, these is all the superhero powers. This is all the powers that they was talking about in December 21st, 2020, in 2020. This is what they was talking about. It wasn't, you wasn't going, it's not it's not a literal aspect. It's all metaphors, which is switched to the mental for, because metaphor is short for mental for. That's all it is. Yep. And that's just dealing with the superheroes. I mean, I'm gonna see if I can get one more real quick to come to my mind real quick. Because you're dealing with, when you're dealing with the intel, then it just comes to you like that. So let me take a sip of my shit real quick. Hold up. See, another superhero here. No, I really can't think of one right now. So, but yeah, that's the superpowers, man. The superpowers it's always been here. But when you're dealing with this time in day, with this technology, these phones, everything that's out, you can mega stand that everything happens for a reason. Everybody has a purpose on this planet to move the planet forward. And one thing that I noticed, like with these, with the stuff that's going on, the mental focus is always going to succeed. It's always going to be, it will always outshine ignorance and a lack of intelligence. It's always going to outshine that. Dealing with the magnetism, the plasma, electrodes, electrons shooting through the air. And I was going to do a video on astrology and astronomy. And the thing about that, because I see a lot of people representing astrology, like, what's your sign? You this, you that, da, 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 da. The thing about astrology, the only thing astrology was used for back in the ancient days, what our ancestors used astrology for, they used it and they marked everything as controlling the people, controlling the mass majority of people. They used astrology for it. Because one thing why they had used that, because it was more of a control factor dealing with the astrology. Because when you use astrology for your personal life, and then you put limitations on your mind. What do I mean by that? You put limitations on your mind. When you use astrology, you say, oh, well, this person is a Sagittarius. I'm not compatible with them, this and that. Man, we used that back in the day on the mass majority of people on the planet. We was using astrology to control them. And then also the reason why, that was our ancestors. And see, when they took that, they use astrology. Now, what's it being used to this day? Astrology is being used to this day for what? To control the mass majority of people. It's the same thing. See, when you use it in your own personal life, you can understand when you're doing astrology, you can understand what's going on as far as dealing with the agendas. Right? What's going on with the agenda, this and that. But there's no need for astrology when you got common sense. You got common sense, man. You ain't, see, this is the thing, right? You ain't never, when you, like, I heard one teacher say this, and it never left me. When you came out your mama's womb, you didn't have a book strapped to your ass. What is astrology? Astrology is a book, just like religion. Same shit. It's a book just like religion, man. All you got to do is have common sense. You know when you're doing something wrong. I know when I do something wrong, I'm like, damn, I shouldn't have did that. Oh, man, let me, get my stuff together, this and that. So that's the thing about astrology. I see a lot of people repping astrology, man. That stuff don't mean nothing, man. The only reason why these, when you're dealing with the people that's in power right now, that's looking up at the stars, you know why they're looking up at the stars right now? The reason why is because they're looking to see if some shit gonna pop off. They ain't worried about no goddamn. See, that's all about the spells. The spells that these motherfuckers that's running the planet right now, they putting spells and shit on the masses with astrology. That shit don't mean nothing, man. You got common sense. You ain't come out with no book strapped to your ass when you came out your mama's womb. You be worried about activation. You better be worried about your junk DNA. That's what you need to be worried about. That and making sure your children worried about that. It's always going to be about the children. You know what I'm saying? You got these teachers out here, they always representing this and that, but they ain't never talking about activating the children though. You know why? Because they agents, man. Dealing with no damn astrology, man. Do you know why the people that look up, they want to know if an asteroid's coming, they want to know if a supernova's going to crack, they want to know if a quasar is going to hit this planet or alter the solar system. They looking up in the stars for protection, and they're looking up in the stars for life. That's why they looking up there. They don't care about no damn constellations, man. See, that's how they do. They flip everything on a mass majority of, well, the sheeple, not us. But everybody else, that's why astrology really don't mean nothing, man. You look up there, the only reason why you need to be looking up to the stars is for protection of the planet, for new life, new planets, new life, and asteroids, common sense shit. People lose common sense, man. They start going into the little astrology and astronomy and all that stuff, man. That stuff is a book like anything else, man. Goddamn slave. This shit's a slave book, too. Oh, he's a Leo or he's a Sagittarius. I'm not compatible with that. Man, I got a family member that be on that shit so hard, man. I just be looking at him like, nobody care about that dumbass shit, man. You sound like, what the astrology sound like? One of them niggas on a goddamn plantation. Oh yeah, well, I can't be messing with no Libra because Libras, they, I know I'm not compatible with a Libra, this and that. See, mind limiting your mind. You can't even do you got to take a damn book, another book, to tell you what the hell your life is gonna be or how it's gonna fucking play out and shit. That's why astrology shit, man, ain't nothing but, they ain't shit but control the mass majority of people, man. That's all it is. You didn't come out with no book strapped to your goddamn ass, man. You came out, man, you knew what was wrong. And if you didn't, you figured it out quick. Your mom had to pee real quick. She went in the bathroom. You touched that stove. That stove was hot. You figured out that shit's hot. I ain't going to do that again. Simple as that. But like, don't get me wrong. If you're dealing with something, see, the thing is, once you start focusing on, like, you focus on one aspect, it's always been multiple aspects. Look at the universe. When you're dealing with the universe has multiple galaxies. See, you focus on one thing. See, that's the thing about the religion and Christianity and Islam and all that stuff, getting you focused on a book. It's always been about creating your own book. Creating your own reality, man, to move your children forward. That's all it's about. Ain't nothing, and anybody can't even argue with me about that. Nobody can. That's what it's about. That's what that's about. You're putting limitations on your mind when you're dealing with these books. Whenever you gotta go into a book, right? And you go into a book and you gotta be like, he's this, he's that. This is his sign. I don't even know. I'm gonna try it out. But